Leadership is such a critical part of organizations and teams finding their own unique pathway to success. We will discuss renegade leaders, why they matter, and more on this episode of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom.
Good morning. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. Enjoyed the 3-day weekend. Hard to get functioning today. Feel like the gears aren't shifting quite fully yet, but it's early.
Okay. And are you still thinking that you have to get 5 days work done in 4 days?
I am.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's part of the. I was dreading the start of today yesterday. I said several times, like, I really don't want to get up and have to deal with all I have to deal with tomorrow. But now here it is, and I will confront it. And you're freezing on me. Uh-oh. Did I lose you, Tom? Oh, boy, you're coming and going. Looks like I'm talking to myself. Hey, folks. So welcome to today's Antidote. I'm Bob. That was Tom. He'll be back, I'm sure. Clearly, we're having some technology issues, which is par for the course on the day after a holiday. I guess the equipment's not working the way it should because it had the day off yesterday because we taped yesterday's show. So today's Antidote came about in the pandemic, when the pandemic started, because Tom and I needed just a way for us to get up each morning, something to do. And we came up with this idea of trying to tackle a topic and figuring out one thing that we could resolve that would change that day for us. So we've been doing this now for 2.5 years, coming up on. I think we're right around there. And we continue to do it each day. So here we are, yet another day. And you're back with us, Tom.
I think so. Hopefully, in good
I got
shape.
audio at least now. We lost video. You froze, but fortunately for you, you froze in a good posture.
That's good.
Yeah. So I was just telling people how today's Antidote came about. We should probably get rolling with the show because I think we'll probably have more technology issues knowing how this works.
You never can tell.
So we like to start the program with a celebration, and I'm just going to celebrate the fact that when one door closes, another door opens in life. And we see this with customers. You lose a customer and you gain a customer, and you see it in relationships. You lose a relationship, you gain a relationship. And I'm just happy that new doors keep opening.
Like that.
It's nice to have them. So what about you? What are you celebrating?
What I'm celebrating is that sometimes things don't go as planned. So, and that you have to adjust. And sometimes that adjustment actually turns out to have different results. So yesterday we lost our air conditioning for some reason. Tried to fix it, couldn't figure it out. Not that I know a whole lot about air conditioners. I do know how to Google, why won't my air conditioner work? And so tried some of those things. The typical, turn it off, let it sit, turn it back on, turn the circuit breaker off, turn it back. Yeah, none of those worked. And yet it still provided an opportunity. It was hot in the house, so we were outside a little bit more, at least in the morning and the evening. And I think it provided an opportunity to enjoy what was out there, which may have been different because it was so hot. I might have just been inside all day. And I think that's, something that we can look at is that sometimes things don't happen the way we thought they would. And it gives us an opportunity to explore something new and different. And sort of like I think what you're talking about is that if one door closes, another door has a chance to open if we are willing to open it. So I'm sort of in the same camp as you, I think, today.
Wow, that doesn't happen.
Not that often. No.
And today, Tom, there's a national celebration that I think would be a really good one. And that is, it's National Smile Day.
Smile. Nice.
And it's interesting, if you look at the research, when you're on a phone call, if you're smiling, the person reacts to you differently, even though they can't see you. And that always makes me feel like you have to smile when you're on sales calls, smiling when you're talking to people. Smiling, I try to smile even more when the person that's on the phone with me is really annoying me.
Okay.
It does happen. I know it's hard to believe, but it does happen.
Is that why you smile so much on this show?
Yes, because you annoy me incessantly.
It's fair. Well, here's the thing that's interesting as you were talking about that. All I could think about. So, as I've shared many times, I do officiate girls and women's lacrosse.
Whoa, that's new.
When
did you start that?
I don't know, a while ago. And one of the things that we have to do in high school before every game is we do an equipment check with each team. And, part of that equipment check is that the girls have to wear a mouth guard. And, so some of them, they have to show us that they have their mouth guard with them. So some of us will hold it in their hand. Some of them will hold it in their hand. Some will have it like dangling out of their mouth. And occasionally there's the player who comes up and just gives this great big smile and the mouth guard is in their mouth. And there's something about that always makes me just a little happier. They get a chance.
That's a perfect description.
Yeah, it was just, it's like, okay, yeah, everyone, it's here, it's there, whatever. And then you got the person who clearly is having a good time and not overly serious and just wants to be like, and I always try to say to them, it's so nice when I get to see a smile in these lines.
Yes.
And so I like the fact that it's Smile Day.
Nice.
To think about how often more I can smile.
I like it. So we should get to talking about leadership. Sorry, I'm yawning. I apologize. Oh, that was a good wake-up yawn, wasn't it? If you're watching on video, that was quite the yawn, wasn't it?
If you're watching and listening to the podcast, you have no idea what just happened, which is...
So we're talking about leadership this week, which a little different than most people. We're not talking about the leader. We're talking about the renegade leader and that leadership that's more from the sides, from the sidelines, from the back row, from the back seat of the car, not the driver of the car, but the person who's co-piloting, co-navigating, just helping move something forward. What was that look?
I'm just listening.
Okay.
Trying to figure out where you're going.
Helping move something forward, but not the defined leader in that situation. Is that a fair way to put it?
Well, it could be. I think I don't know. I guess I was thinking of it more as just a different type of leadership.
Okay.
That was my thought is that and I think we talked a little bit that on yesterday, when we talked about what they are. And so if you're curious and you weren't really clear on what Bob was sharing, you can go back and listen to Monday's episode because I think it'll give you a good sense of what it is. I think if I can recap briefly, is that it is more than just the person who is defined as the leader. That yes, they can be renegade leaders as well. In addition, there can also be others who can step up and become a leader, even though they weren't necessarily given the title. Is that fair?
Yes. That's a good way to put it. I was sort of talking through my thoughts. You and I didn't get to talk through this as much, I think, as usual. So we were doing that in public. I think it was good discussion, though.
It was a discussion.
So the question is, why does it matter? That's our topic today.
Yes.
And if I may, can I start that?
Of course.
I think there is a dearth of leaders. Yes, a dearth. Big word, right?
That's why you wanted to start, because you wanted to use
No, it just came to me. A dearth of leaders. Like we don't have leaders in a lot of situations. We tend to be I think we're a society of followers. I think we're a society of people that don't want to put themselves out on a limb and say, I'm willing to lead. I have an idea here. What if we did it this way? I see that in meeting after meeting where you're at the meeting, and at the end of the meeting, someone says to you afterwards, wow, I had this idea. I just didn't want to share it with the group. I had that happen to me Friday at a meeting that you and I typically attend. Someone came up to me afterwards and said, I had this idea. I didn't know if you'd like it, so I didn't share it until now, but now I realize it would have been really helpful. Great, thank you. It's marvelous. And I think we tend to be afraid to show leadership at times because it looks like we're self-promoting, or it looks like we're trying to take charge of something. And I think that's why it matters, why renegade leaders matter, is because they put themselves out there. They take that step. And I think that's really important to the success individually and as organizations, that when someone's willing to stand up and say, hey, what if we did this? Or have we tried this new approach? I think that's the catalyst for real change in an organization. What do you think, Tom?
I would agree. And I also think that there was a lot in there. One, I think there are a lot of people who would define themselves as leaders. I'm not sure they would necessarily fit our definition of a renegade leader. And I think oftentimes other people's don't feel like sharing because they haven't been provided the space or felt like they've had the space or the opportunity to share, or that what they would share would be valued. And that holds them back from sharing the value that they may have, whether it's based on their past experience, knowledge, or their perspective of the current situation, that it didn't seem like a fit in the time. And I think that's one of the things that many leaders fall into, is that this is the way it's always been done. This is the standard. And I think what we are finding is the standard doesn't always work in every situation. And in most situations, typically the standard doesn't work. At least the standard role of leadership, that there's a person leading and everyone else is following. And oftentimes I think that there are more renegade leaders out there than actually believe it. They are choosing to go their own pathway, that they are willing to step up in a meeting and share what they're sharing, or to say, this situation is not for me and I am going to take another path to try to find my own unique success. And I think, as I think about why it matters, is that many things wouldn't be discovered if there weren't renegade leaders out there who are willing to say, I think there's another way. I think there's something different that might add different value, not quote unquote better or quote unquote worse, just different. And that in that difference sometimes can help others get to where they want to get quicker than they might have otherwise. And I think it also allows others to find that renegade leader in them when they have a leader who is willing to say, or who shows by example, that they welcome other thoughts and ideas that might help the organization move forward, or the individual move forward, and why it might be beneficial for one individual in the team, yet not as beneficial for the other. Beneficial is probably not the right word. As effective is probably a better word. And so I think that those are the reasons to me of why it matters, is that it allows for others to discover their own type of leadership that can add value to others.
It also encourages a diversity of opinions and thoughts, which ultimately makes for better or different solutions. Probably more carefully analyzed, because everyone comes at it from their own perspective. I've been in situations where the leader really steers the discussion and it's pretty clear what that leader wants and the people follow. And I've been in groups where the leader says, hey, here's the topic. What are some ideas that we have about it? And listens to each idea. And the result usually is an amalgamation of a lot of those different ideas into one. I got the vocabulary going.
What did you do? Pull out the thesaurus today and say, okay, what words can I use? Here are my 6 words that I have to get in today. I like it. That could be a goal for you.
6 words.
Pull out of the source and say, what are really cool words that I could find it's my goal. How do I slide them in every day? Just a thought.
Way back when I worked at a newspaper, I would do that. I'd find a new word and work it into an article, no matter what. And the editor would always remove it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He'd be like, what the hell, Graham?
Because he probably felt like others would not understand it. And
or it was a nuanced word that I was using in a not quite perfect way.
Interesting.
But amalgamation was the right word there.
Well, it was the word that was real for you in the moment, I guess.
Oh, my.
For those of you who don't kind of get the little inside conversation Bob and I just had, you might want to go back 2 weeks now and look at the value of words that we talked about, and look at the words right and wrong.
Yes.
It was an interesting conversation around the value of those 2 words that might add some clarity to what's happened over the last 2 or 3 minutes.
So, Tom, you're getting a little foggy again. So before you get really foggy, can you share
my
one thing?
Thoughts or in
your
camera?
Video?
Oh, okay.
It is not as crystal clear as usual.
I thought you were relating that to my thoughts.
No, not at all. So what's your one thing today when we talk about leadership and why it matters?
Well, I think the reason that renegade leaders matter is that they leverage all of the resources around them. Not only their own knowledge, experience, and perspective, they provide an opportunity for others to share, and that it doesn't always have to be one way. Is that amongst a team, amongst an organization, there can be different methods used that fit within someone's knowledge, experience, and perspective, allows them to step up and be a leader, whether for themselves or for others, so that the group can move forward and accomplish or find that unique pathway to success that is allowed. And I think, unfortunately, too many of our leaders feel like it has to be one way, their way, for everyone. And I think that stifles the opportunity for others to show the renegade leader that they are.
I think renegade leaders matter because they're catalysts for change. They create new opportunities that, the whole idea of being a renegade is finding a unique pathway. So many organizations have done it the same way for years and years and years. And there's a time where you have to change. I remember 20 years ago when companies are like, oh, the internet's not going to be a big deal. We don't need a website. We don't need to be able to do selling online. And look where we are now. It just, renegade leaders encourage new ideas, encourage new opportunities. And I think that's so critical to any organization now.
I like it.
You and I saw it with what we do here. We brought a third person in to help us with some things, and her ideas were really, really good, and things that, like,
they were different.
That's really useful. I had never really thought about that before. That's a really great perspective. And it wasn't because you and I didn't spend hours and hours thinking about it. It's just we were limited by your perspective, my perspective, and our shared perspective. So when that third party came into it, it kind of shifted things around, and things that you and I wouldn't question because we just do them. That person questioned them, and it was really valuable in that moment to have the discussion, even if we didn't alter anything, just to really think about, well, why do you do this way? Because I think so often we just do.
Well, or we do based on what we know, have experienced, or is our perspective.
Right.
Which is fair.
Mm-hmm.
What else would we do?
Right.
It's until others share their value that I think then we have the opportunity to grow and learn. And that might be another piece of this, is that the renegade, why renegade leaders matter is that they are open to others coming in and sharing and being impacted, so that they can then possibly travel down a different pathway.
I like it. And you are freezing up again, so we should probably get to the end.
Excellent. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show today. If you have your one thing you'd like to share, that antidote, please feel free to put it in the comments of whatever social media you happen to be watching this on, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, or
LinkedIn Live.
Yes, LinkedIn Live. And if you happen to be listening to the podcast and saying, well, how can I share my one thing, my antidote? Please join us in our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we'll be talking about this topic all week long with polls, quotes, comments, and trying to get your thoughts, give you an opportunity to share and also to hear from others what they believe is a renegade leader and why it is important to them. So it's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then just ask to join to be a part of our growing community where we are helping one another take the next step along our own unique pathway to success. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you and smile. It could make a difference in someone's day.
Interesting concept. I'll have to try to incorporate that into my day today. Yeah, you enjoy doing that way too much.
For the podcast people, I was smiling very big into the camera.
Yes, almost like a created, not a real smile, like a fake smile that he's putting on. Yet it's still a smile. Anyhow, all right, everybody, go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.